Okay, so that wasn't working, so I transferred my mixture to a container. Don't use a paper towel. Just going to add a little more. Substrate, which is really just dirt anyways. A little more dirt. A little more fertilizer. Water. Something to mix it with, just happened to be around. You're just trying to get it to the consistency so you can mold it like a ball of mud. But you want to create a round Wabi-Kusa, you don't want it to be flat. This is looking pretty good. And you also want to get a good enough amount. You're not going to put much. You're going to put a little sphagnum moss on it around the outside to hold it all together, along with some Java moss. But you want to have a decent sized ball of mud. So what I got here doesn't really look like to be enough. So I'm going to make a little more. Alright, I think that should do it. Check that out. Mud. Okay, set that aside. Give this a quick wipe. Some of my plants off to the side here. Coffee. Alright. So grab some of your sphagnum moss. And now the idea here is you just want to make like a flat layer of moss to roll your ball of mud in. So I'm just kind of trying to make a flatter, not so thick. And this is just cheap moss. I think it was like $4. It says long fibered on it, and I figured it would be easier to keep together with the thread. I'm just trying to make as flat of a piece as possible. And I want to make probably twice the size of the amount of mud ball I'm going to make. Okay, so you can turn this into a ball of mud with your hands. I'm just going to kind of plop it in here and see what happens. You want to kind of roll and squish, right? It's okay if you lose some of your moss, because you're going to wrap it again in some Java moss. But really what you want is you want to keep the dirt from dissolving out into your aquarium, or your container I should say. So if you notice, I got a nice ball of kind of dry moss. Now some people at this point I've seen people use like pot scrubbies because it's like plastic netting. I like to use just nylon or cotton thread. Cotton thread will dissolve eventually, which is nice. This is actually polyester, so this isn't going to dissolve, but it's also not going to be noticed once the plants start growing. So you want to get your ball, I like to put it right on top of the thread. Get yourself a net. Also seen some people go to like the fabric store, like Joann Fabrics, and get, I don't even know what kind of fabric it is, but it's almost like a gauze, so that your roots can grow through the fabric, and then you can just make little packets of dirt. You don't have to use this moss. I like the moss. I think it looks a little more natural. So I've just tied like a crisscross, and then once I get this in here, I'm going to go around it a lot more with the thread. So carefully pick it up and just start wrapping your moss ball, and you want to make it fairly tight. This thread's also going to be useful because you can tuck plants underneath it when you go to plant this thing in a little while. This might also be nice to do this for, say, like carnivorous plants, because I know it's easy to grow that in sphagnum moss, because they don't want any nutrients. You'd probably want to leave out the dirt. You'd probably use sand and peat instead of dirt. Okay, so I got a pretty good amount of thread on there. Give it a cut. I'm just gonna sort of like use my pinchers here, forceps, whatever you want to call them, and just kind of go underneath a few times. Just because I dropped out of the Boy Scouts and I don't know any good knots to tie this together. Go. There you have it. Moss ball, dirt inside. You can trim some of this little excess off if you'd like. Like I said though, I'm gonna put some Java moss around the outside. This is all submerged Java moss, so it'll take it a little while to convert to terrestrial form. But you know, you can, if you want to be neat. It really doesn't matter because, like I said, it's gonna. Some of this extra. No, that's still good. Easier to see what I'm doing here. Okay. There we have it.